More with MVP. Japan, United States, Canada, Puerto Rico?
Puerto Rico?
England?
All of Europe.
So when he says he's the MVP, he's the MVP everywhere. So
Everywhere.
MMA, it's interesting because you see several MMA fighters getting involved in pro wrestling.
Sure.
What are your thoughts of that? Did it surprise you when that started? And look at the success that they've been having.
No, not at all. Because, I mean, let's look at this realistically. Pro wrestling was the original MMA. Before you had a genre referred to as mixed martial arts with that actual name, pro wrestling was that. Because, you know, you had the karate guy, you had you had all these different guys with different styles that would get in the ring, and you had brawlers, and you had technical wrestlers, and you had high flyers and martial artists, and that's essentially what mixed martial arts was in its earliest stages before it became an actual martial art, and that's what pro wrestling has always been. So even though, you know, you get fans of MMA that will belittle pro wrestling, most MMA fighters are, if they're not pro wrestling fans, they appreciate pro wrestling. You know, you got guys like Josh Barnett, who's an accomplished pro wrestler, Minoru Suzuki, Filthy Tom Lawler. You know, I can go down the list of guys who are accomplished mixed martial artists who are, man, phenomenal pro wrestlers. Or, you know, Stephen Bonner is pro wrestler now. He's in the UFC Hall of Fame. So it's not a surprise at all because, I mean, it's a real easy transition to make. And, you know, pro wrestlers tend to be fans of MMA and vice versa. So it's not a surprise at all.
New Japan Pro Wrestling, somewhere you've worked, they're making some inroads. They're doing a little more in the United States now. What are your thoughts of them, and can they get enough fans to be a major player in the United States? I mean, at a high level, WWE is the highest level as far as America goes. What do you think about New Japan?
How you define high level. You know, it's all a matter of perspective.
I'm going to talk about the numbers. So the numbers of people that are actually into the product. So it seems like WWE worldwide is just, I mean, you look on social media,
their market
followers,
share, their market saturation
it's incredible.
It's my opinion that, at least in my lifetime, unless there's some amazing shift in the business, I don't think anybody will ever catch up to WWE. You know, that would be like, you know, an upstart cola company trying to take on Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola is entrenched in the psyche of people around the world, and so is WWE. Most people, when you say pro wrestling, their thought is, oh yeah, WWE, WWF. But this is a very unique time in pro wrestling because now you have access to wrestling like you've never had it before. You've got YouTube, you've got Twitch, you've got Fight Network, you have all of these different platforms where you can access all of this different pro wrestling. When I quit WWE to go to New Japan in 2010, my dream was always to wrestle in Japan. I was always a fan of Japanese wrestling because I always appreciated how they presented it as sport and less spectacle. And when I had the opportunity to wrestle in New Japan, for me it was literally a dream come true. And what a lot of people don't know, and I'm very proud to say this, I was way ahead of the curve, and I don't mind pulling old Barry Horowitz and patting myself on the back.
Barry Horowitz, our friends, another Florida guy.
Barry Horowitz, Florida guy. I had a meeting with the New Japan office with I guess he's gone now, but previously President Sugabayashi, Jado, Gato, Hattori, all the guys in the office, and I explained to them that there was a huge English audience that wanted access to their product. And I actually used my Twitter feed back then, before I even had 100,000 followers, I was telling everybody, if you want New Japan in English, tweet President Sugabayashi and let him know. And as we were in the meeting, he pulls out his phone and he starts scrolling through, like, you know, and I'm like, why is your face scrunched so? Why are you upset? You see, there are potentially millions of dollars left on the table. I pitched a concept of New Japan World to them in 2011. I said, man, you guys need to set up a YouTube channel in English. It'd be very easy to hire 2 English-speaking play-by-play color team, announce team, and present your talent, your Japanese talent, to this English-speaking audience. Your website, you need English website. You have merchandise, that money that's being left on the table. And I guess everything's timing. I guess at that point, they weren't ready. So later on, when I saw New Japan World come into play, and I saw them start doing more shows over here, it made me proud, because New Japan has been for many years my favorite wrestling organization. And when I left WWE to go to Japan, I remember all of the people that were sending me messages on social media telling me I was stupid, I was crazy, what was I thinking going to China to wrestle? Why would I ever leave the WWE? And all of those people wear Bullet Club shirts now. So to see the success that guys like Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks and you know, now I'm seeing like Hot Topic. You know, before, if you went into Hot Topic, if you bought a wrestling shirt, it was a WWE wrestling shirt, and now you can get Marty Scurll the Villain. You know, so I'm very happy to see that, because I love the fact that right now in professional wrestling, you can make a living as a professional wrestler without ever having wrestled for WWE. And just a few years ago, that was virtually impossible. And now you have people that, you know, the Young Bucks have never seen Vince McMahon's television, but they make more money than a lot of people on Vince McMahon's television. So, you know, you gotta love and respect the lane that they've created. Let's look at All In. You know, with Cody and these guys, they sold out a, what, 10,000 tickets or something like that? So, you know, I do these interviews all the time, and I talk about the old timers, the old school guys, and all those Young Bucks, they're doing it wrong, and apparently they're not doing it wrong. And they got, you know, they're licensing their name for bobbleheads and t-shirts, and they're selling out 10,000 seat arenas. They're not doing it wrong. And I've always said, you know, like with the Young Bucks, I'm a fan of the Young Bucks. I'm not a fan of their style of wrestling, but I'm a fan of them for finding their own lane. And you're not doing it wrong if people are buying tickets to see it. So at the end of the day, I'm very happy to see how accessible pro wrestling is now in this information age with all of the different platforms. And, you know, the clock's ticking for me. You know, my career is coming to a close, and I know I've got, you know, got a few years left. I still feel pretty decent, you know.
Look good tonight.
Thank you, thank you. I got a little gas left in the tank, but I feel good to know that the industry's in good hands. It's healthy. It's going to be just fine. And when I'm gone, I see some of the new talent coming along behind me that they leave me feeling very confident that, you know, my craft, my passion, my profession is, as I said, it's in very good hands. So.
Well, MVP, it's always a pleasure. Always appreciate the time. And hey, we're in the classroom. School is out, MVP.
Dismissed.